I usually use a draw knife. This bark's pretty tough. I had to use the wire brush to get that bark out. You can still see some back in here, but I wanted to leave that knot and try not to mess it up too bad. You can see where the bark girt around it. And back in here, of course that's some of it too. There's me getting excited with a hatchet. And you can see some of the beautiful little worm marks. Of course I still got to hand sand this just to rough off some of this stuff. And it's still got to be planed. Here's another knot. I ripped it off. It had this shelf, big layer of shelf bark. You can see, I think it's really looks neat. I've never worked with pig nut hickory. So far, it's fighting me the whole time. But 3 more bark sides to go before I can plane these. It's going to be a minute. Okay, after about an hour and a half. Well, using chisels on the pry bars to get this bark off. Of course, it looks like Bucky the beaver's been here. Of course, I still got to clean it up. As you can tell, of all the disaster zone is going around. Which definitely is pretty. I'm gonna plane them up, see what they look like. Most definitely this shag bark I had to put in my memory not to mess with it much. Yep. Where I'd show you a disaster before I planed them. Might have to clean up the floor. This is getting pretty bad. And I got that knuckle got hit, that knuckle got hit, and that knuckle. Note to self when using 2 chisels, when you got one stuck in the wood, don't stick your hand in front of it while you're hitting the other one beside it. If you mess with the hammer, it hurts. many of fun times blowing breakers on the planer because I had the vacuum cleaner and the planer plugged into the same circuit. Yeah, happens. But anyways, this is my outer board. Say to the right, and this is my left board. These are my shelves. Of course, I usually wing it anyways. Every board's over 8 foot tall. But I'm gonna do the center lines because this board's actually wider than this board. Doesn't really care if there's curves in it, doesn't matter. Same way with this, except right here's my flat back. That'll be against the wall. So what I'm gonna do is do my center line. And of course, it's always some odd number that I gotta think about. So of course you don't mess up like me all the time. You just measure it from both sides and see if you're pretty close. But the idea is, it's nothing square on this. These are chainsaw cut both ends. When I get the center line drawn, marked, we'll square this off. We're taking our speed square, whatever you got, straighten this off. That way we can measure from the bottom up on both boards. That'll keep us consistent. We're measuring off the same spot and from the same area going up. So it'll be all the same. That'll keep us square. No matter what else, this board rolls out this way, it doesn't matter. Our spots will still be the same. It should turn out pretty good. So I'll get these all done. No shit. Get your ass over here. Hold this. That plumb bob should hold right there. I gotta go straight. Okay, both these are my bottom of boards. I do a little artwork, put B so I don't forget it and have one upside down. I do that often. And now I got my center line. Use my angle, make sure I'm lined up. Yep. Yeah, I put the T on the other side of the line so I can make sure this line was still straight with this line, so it should be a perfect 45. So when I cut that, it should be straight. This is where all my measurements will come from for marking my holes for my shelving. And every other line will come off my distance to make my mortise, I think, or the tenon. I don't know which one's which. I mess them up all the time. I think it's the tenon. There we go. Okay, I'll get ready to saw this off, I guess. Well, I guess we can put it on film. Me screwing up the cut. Gratitude. But these shells, usually, the tendons, I'll do 2 and then 1. I figure up the distance at, because these boards are only, this board's pretty narrow. It's only 9 3/16, so for me to stick a 3/4 peg for make it to tug to tighten the shelf up, I want a minimum of 2 inches. So right now I can't do 2 because I usually take the wide of the board and divide it by 5, because if I'm doing 2, that means there's a space on the outside, the thickness of the tenon coming through, the space between, the thickness, and the space outside. These boards are not wide enough, I wouldn't get 2 inches out of it. So I'm just going to do one solid one. And right now I still haven't figured out how thick I'm going to make it. It's probably going to be 3 inches, 3.5, something look decent. And it's just going to be straight in line with this right here. You'll see how it goes here shortly, piece by piece by piece. when you cut these off, you want to take your center line and transfer it on the back. Because when you go drilling stuff out and chiseling it, you want to mark them on the back side, because what will happen, it'll bust it out and it'll look all kinds of bad. You'll mess up your chisel and it'll be crooked, look like crap. I know from experience. So, just learning and having fun. Build stuff, old school way. Sort of old school way with mostly manual tools. I do have hand saws, I use almost everything. And you see me if I got a grinder with a wire on it. You might see me with a grinder with a grinding disc on it. I'll do almost anything. Try it. That's the whole idea, learn. Try something. Watch others. Mess up. Have fun. Learn from your mess ups. It's the whole name of the game. Build something. And of course, when I build, I got to jump down on it. I'm exactly really small. I'm only like 250 pounds, plus a couple extra. If it holds me, I'm pretty sure it'll hold anything. Well, not anything, but good bit. So I guess I'm gonna get my saw out and make some really bad cuts, and you'll really like it. I think that's about the straightest cut I made. It don't happen often. Good thing I filmed it so I can watch myself later, knowing I can do it. Of course, make sure you can always hit yourself and screw yourself over. Yep. I don't know if these are going to be 40 inches. Yes, I know I can mark both of them to 80, but then the turf, so it'd be off a little bit and lengthwise. Well, I said 60 inches. So if I come up this way for 3 inches, I'm intending to go with my 5x5 beam that holds at the bottom of these, which you all see soon enough. Come up to 6, that'd be my bottom of my board. So if I did 18, that'd be 12 inches. So this would be shelf, shelf. Next one would be 30. Okay. Next one will be 42. Next one will be 54. I think it'll be all right. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches on the upsides after the shelf. Those look pretty neat. I'll make the shelf later. Yeah, that'd be 12. Well, that's going to be, yep. Thickness of my shelf, I forgot to add it. So that'd be down to 11 inches in between the two shells. So we put a T there. Well, so far I got all them right. I'll cut down in these just a little, about a 1/4 inch. The boards will have a little place to set on and when they go through the channel. But I've learned them boards are 1 3/8. So I'll cut a little bit on this side of the line, a little bit on this side, leave a little of the line. So I can come back in with the chisel and take it down, make it really tight. Because if I don't, I know my cutting and I'll have a gap. And again, back to the welding. I can't fill the gap with weld. It won't work. The board will catch on fire on the ground. I'll go through marking all these and do a little cutting and be back. Well, I did some cutting. Of course, this is not right, but there's my floorboards and my shelves. All right there. I end up cutting them 43 inches. And you can see these will be the tops. There's all my markings for each spot. Let's show up my artwork down here. It's hard to see. There's a line. I'm cutting this out from my tendon to go into my 5x5. I'll end up using a handsaw to cut this out because it's got to be pretty close to keep it level when you set it down. Like I said, when I do these, when I cut these, I'm going to cut on this side of the line. Let me get a pencil. I'll cut actually over here and then over here. That way it gives me some with a chisel and I can scar that with my knife so it don't splinter. I can get it really tight to the board. So the bottom I want flush. It's always got to keep the same distance, but I want to keep it really tight. And I did transfer the line so far. I just hadn't marked it on the back. But this old girl right here was old. Look at all them rings. She growed really, really slow. And I did. Look at the pencil. She was not a fast grower. A shame they took it down, but no sense letting it rot or turn to firewood. Well, some of it got turned to firewood, but I couldn't turn into a board. We'll go back and start cutting these, and I'll have to make my tendons on the 42-inch boards there, or 43-inch boards. So I'll cut the tendons out and figure out how wide I want to make them. I'll process that tomorrow. Like I said, it's not a high-speed process, but it's fun. Take your time. When it's done, it's done. It'll hold together. Y'all have a good evening. Later. Video check. Or audio. Whatever. Yeah. Better video check or audio. Whichever. See how it works. See how this one works. How y'all doing? In case you hear a bunch of noise, this is the place where I work. They just let me stack my wood in here and work here too. I actually took vacation to come here in the night times. I still have to work sometimes, weld stuff up. If they need something, doesn't matter to me. But just telling you in case you hear noise. I ran into the limit with this. My tendon on the bottom, which I'm putting a 5x5 piece, which I haven't cut it out yet. It goes in the bottom of this with a peg. Okay? And if I only use one single tendon right here, that means I only have like a 3-inch crack, which weakens it. I don't like it. It could break. You'd have to be abusive, but it could break in theory. I usually do 2 tendons, 1, 2, 1 on each side of the shell. The problem is, this one's only like, they get to make me out, 9 3/8 wide. I usually don't like no less than 2 inches of tendon. What I'm trying to talk about is like, let's see here. These two little small blocks are the tendons. These would be the spaces in between. And the next ones will be the tendon to be just double that to the center of that one. So I ain't gonna have much meat on either side of this, or it's gonna be really small in the center. I'm trying to figure out the best distance. What I usually do is take the wide of the board, like say it's 10 inches wide. There's 5 spaces. This space, your tendon space, bench space, this tendon space, blank space. And I divide that by 5, which would equal out to 2 inches space, and that's how I make my decisions to come from the center line, inch over here, that's 2-inch space. These would be 2-inch spaces, and this would be a 2-inch space, which is the bare minimum I do. Then when the single tendon, I just add the two together to make a 4-inch. That way it looks kind of uniform going up the side of the board if you look from the side. Now I'm gonna have to change it. I haven't figured it out yet. I want as much meat as I can out here because the boards are tapered, of course, because this is the outside of the tree. So I'm working on this. I'm trying to figure it out. It might be fun. See, there ain't much left. This little section stay, and these 2 little sections, them 2 1/4. I might be able to roll with it. We'll find out. Hope it don't break. But if you can see on the back side, get this thing flopped over. I haven't got that cut yet. That's going to be coming out right here. I'm only going to have this much from side to side, but it technically shouldn't break because there's 2 of them that goes in the heart of it. But I got this little crack former, which I don't get excited about. It's not all the way through anyways. Once this is locked in and the peg's in it, it's going to suck it down. Because when I put the peg, when this goes in, I center my 5x5, I drilled a hole through it. Now I'll stick this in there and I'll mark it. And I'll come up 1/8 inch this way from the center line and drill the hole. That way the peg comes through the 5x5 into this, the peg actually comes up and goes back down, which sucks this really tight against that. The peg is cut in the same grain. It's not milled out or anything, it's all straight grain. Makes it more flexible, stronger, which suck that really tight. I can take this outside right here with this line, and I can cut this down like say 1/4 inch on both sides. And what that'll do, when the 5x5 goes in there, it'll hide any of the mess ups. I'm human, we're all are. We make mistakes. It's the whole idea, doing it by hand. But if you wanted to make one of these, you can go to a hardware store, Lowe's, any of them places, get your board. It could be a 2x8, 2x10, 2x12. Make your center line. Do everything off the center line just like this. That way, I'm only measuring on 2 places on this board. Everything comes off this center line. And I straighten this level, this out, off the center line. Everything comes from the bottom up. That's the only 2 measurements I make from. Bottom up and from the center line. Everything is the same. If my tape measure is messed up, I use the same tape measure on this. If it's 1/8 inch off all the time, I'm gonna have the same consistency of 1/8 inch off all the time, which won't gonna matter because it's the exact same measurements I did all the time. Just trying to help. I know how it is. People mess up if you start measuring from one side to another. If you're 1/16 off, by the time you get all the way to the top, it goes 1/2 inch off. But if you always measure consistency from the same points, you should be good. That's what I've learned anyways. Now that I figured this out, I just realized I got more work. And that's gonna be a pain in the butt to cut too. I thought that was 1 inch. Make sure. Now these are this guides. Each one of these just gives me the idea. I write down the numbers. The pencil marks are usually a little too thick and not precise. I always stay inside the pencil marks. On these right here, this 1.5 inch is going to be the most critical part of it. So I'm going to have to keep this really centered 3/4 inch on either side. And then when I cut these boards, I'll have to really pay attention to that. I get that right, and we can work with this a little, you know, if you cut this a hair thicker, we should be fine. You can shave this a little off of that on the outside. But this center, you want that center to be right. You still want it to be over tight. That way you can open it up a little bit. If it was welding, we'd leave a nice gap in all that and fill it in with weld. But unfortunately it's wood. Can't fill it in unless you want to use glue, and I just don't like using glue. I like old stuff. It's all jointed together. It relies on itself to be strong. Alright, we got the bottom two marked out to be cut. But you'll see here in a little bit, I'm going to erase all my pencil marks by cutting it. Smart, brilliant person I is. I might go ahead and drill my holes. Center this. I'll center these, and I'll drill one hole. What I'll do, center it with this complete X. That way I can drill a center hole all the way through to the back, and I can shake my center line, and I can put it on the back and give me a rough estimate where these are going to be, so I can cut the first little grains in the wood so it don't splinter out. You ever notice you drill through something that busts out and it'll splinter half the board? I can cut that down so it won't splinter out and get these about cut. I'm sure my film auditor, my middle daughter, will fast forwards all this. Hopefully she does. I'm trying to get the video simple, and I'm going to try to lay this out as best as possible. I learn by watching and doing. Get one of these, get you some boards, old scrap boards, doesn't matter. And you start doing it, it's all about the center line again and measuring up. That's it. If you mess up, so be it. That's how you learn. If you don't mess up, it means you ain't doing anything. See? I think on these two we'll make a 4.5 because we got 2 1/4, 2 1/4, so we should put 4.5 to 4.5. I think that'll look pretty good. 4.5 inches wide. Yeah, I look pretty good. 1/4 inch peg in it. These right here is what's going to be. We'll work it out though. That's going to be a pain in that. But what I'll do, when I get all these marked, get these marked out, I'll take a piece of this lumber and I'll put in there, and when I'm jointing this together, I'll use a piece of this, because this is the thickness of all the shells. I'll use that to get it really, really close where it's really tight. Especially this very bottom line. It's very important to get it exact as possible from the bottom to the top. That's the bottom of your shells on every one of these. So if you mess the bottom line up on either one of these, you're going to have to make them identical, because then your shelf will lean one way or another, because you've kept this consistent. The top, is a little more forgiving. Yeah. Sorry, I speak hillbillyese. It happens. This top one right here, if you mess up, it'll still go. It won't affect your height of your boards or anything. You'll just see it more with your naked eye, which meant that a human got mad and beat it with a big blunt object. How y'all doing? Last night the phone died. Poor thing. Anyways, when I was in a hurry last night doing a little chisel work, which I got this one chiseled in the lower end and remeasured it. It's exactly 6, and I was over here measuring this one. Yeah, and I got the saw happy, and you see I cut all this off. Well, I had to re-put my pencil lines right there because you can see on this one, I have my pencil lines. I hadn't chiseled it yet. So, back to screwing up as usual. I do an excellent job at it. Today on See What I Screwed Up. Yesterday got pissed off. Nothing going right. So I should have stopped when I felt that way, but I kept going. So I'll show you all the fun stuff I've messed up. You're gonna like it. See, I always told you about the center line. Oh, this is pretty bored, isn't it? I got excited, mad, and figured I'd just sand it and, see how pretty it would be. Excited, how it goes. Well, back to center line. Sandpaper and pencil on wood does not add up to leaving center line. So, all funds aside, I've sort of made a center line. I'm hoping it's right. I tried to do distance between these two to keep it right. Because what I'm doing, this is board 3, which I did mark it. I think. I hope I did. Since I'm lost again. Oh, board 3. Now, what's going to happen if I don't put it upside down, which is very possible? Oh, sorry. I get this. Try to show you here. As you can see, don't make fun of my crooked line. I know it's crooked. That's free-handed. But anyways, I didn't fully mark the holes, so I can actually scribe right through both sides of the board and make these up on all of them. And that was the whole idea. At this point in time, I can figure out which live edge I want facing which direction. As you can tell, board 3 is not wide as the hole. There are going to be some spots left open. It'll be all right. We'll cut it in and make it look all right. Remember, it's hand built, not a computer or machine. It's not even a carpenter. It's a hillbilly. Okay. Oh, helps if I unlock my box. Yep. It was in my pocket the whole time. You see, I used the whole space. I used this little area right here. My sawhorse. Last time I built it in the middle of my yard. Off the sawhorse. Black locust. No farmer used to use them as fence posts. They always said how long they last. One day less than a rock. Most times I just bore the holes out and stuff and chisel them out. I'm gonna try this. See if I can get it pretty close down to the end. That way I can set the depth in this. So I don't have to go that deep and make sure everything fits nicely before I finish it out. Since all my straight cutting. All right, let's mess this up. To give you an idea what I'm doing. You can see. That way I can set them in there and see what's going on. And if I'm right, I can just go deeper. We'll get a board to check it. How much that is? Hold on. Yep. case you're wondering what the heck I'm doing with this little, all it is a little sander. I think it's for removing tacks for welding. I don't know. But it's actually just to flatten this out. That's what I'm using it for, as you can see. Try to keep this as close as I can. There is a bad spot right there in that one. I can feel it. But ain't nothing perfect, as you can see. The boards weren't starting in there because these, I cut it so thick. Now, I chiseled that out. These are about the same thickness or just a hair more. So I'll sand them down. They should fit pretty nicely. We will find out here shortly. Figure y'all might want to watch. We got them sanded down. Lovely wife's putting both linseed oil on them. We'll put them sort of together, and tomorrow I got to make the feet and the little pegs. Enjoy. And picking up a tree,
What are you
picking up a
doing?
tree, picking up a tree. Oh, pat kid, pat kid. Oh, where's the hell the ground?
You're close. Totally cannot see it.
Yeah. I think it looks pretty good. Like zebra wood out here. You get the pegs, put the feet on. Right there's the feet. Yeah, big beam down there, 5x5. We'll cut it down and get it right. There's a straight back, of course. Should we finish it up tomorrow? Yep. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Whoops. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Right there. That's what you call man got excited with chisel. Right there. Be all right. Oh, another chisel sighting. I knew this one was here. Yep. Forgot which way I was going. Right there. Yep, yep. You'll be all right. Yeah. Get to see the finished project tomorrow. Later on.